Still soggy out there today. I got up early and went after that bachelor group of Roosevelt elk bulls again. And so I just haven't quite nailed it yet. You know, you don't get an opportunity like this basically ever where I live. I mean, there's Roosevelt elk here. There's various herds around Vancouver Island and on the lower southwest coast of the mainland British Columbia, but usually those big old bulls go off by themselves and get all solo for the remainder of the year, and it's almost impossible to find them, right? And luck would have it, not too far from here, a friend of mine informed me about this group of bachelor bulls, and there's so many mature bulls in there and two real monsters, and it's just so cool to get them all on video in one go. But it's been tough, you know, it's either fog, or they're not there, or rain, or they take off, get spooked, you know, they're too far away, and I can't stop. I have to keep on going until I finally nail it. You know, I just want to get that crisp, awesome video and photos of them. But they leave too early. Both my cameras are fairly sensitive to the low light issue, which creates it's tough to get that crisp photo and video, especially with the Sony with the 4K. That thing sucks in low light, just sucks. So I don't even try it in the morning. I've been using the Canon DSLR. But anyway, so now I'm back. Now it's pouring rain. Now we have to go get a great big, here come the goats. Great. All right, the bandits are locked up. As long as I keep talking, they won't bat. If I go out of sight, they start freaking out. All right, so let's get this going. It's a good day to share, good time to share. It's too wet to do anything out of lumber. Stop me dead, my big beams to complete the inside of this. So something I can do is this right now. This is titled My Encounters. Hi Steve, I've been meaning to write in for a while now. For your sake as well as, well, anyone else who has had a very real encounter that left them wondering if maybe everyone else is right and you are indeed crazy. I'm an Australian Aborigine. Although my mother was stolen at 5 years old by the government and placed into foster homes, I suspect that these things sense my nationality and show me more than they may others. I could be naive in saying that, but I've had more experiences than you could poke a stick at. A little background. I grew up in the outskirts of the Border Ranges National Park, which is subtropical temperate rainforest, very lush, very beautiful old growth forest. We have very old trees that loggers seeking red cedars were unable to get to, as the terrain is so unforgiving. As such, there are trees that are 3,000 to 6,000 years old. Wow. Red cedar being one. Another is the Antarctic beech that don't actually seed. Instead, they throw new shoots from the knoll of the tree and past the trunks die off. And the past trunks die off. You could say they've cracked the code of immortality. If you're ever in Australia, I'd love to show you a hidden grove rich with Antarctic beech. Straight away, you notice something strange about them, being that the roots seem to be exposed up to 12 feet above the ground. That's because they are. Reason being, that's how much the earth has eroded in the time that they've been there. It wouldn't be an overstatement to say that some of these trees have been there since the dinosaur era. Wow, that's really interesting. Last time I was there, I actually met a lady from the International Seed Bank on a mission to figure out how they could be preserved in the event of a natural disaster, because they don't seed. I added that to draw attention to how old and special this place is. So we had a 12-acre farm right on the edge of that forest. Growing up, the forest was an extension of my backyard. The only thing separating home and the forest was a creek that I used to follow like a highway to get into the forest. Rock hopping up the creek was my favorite pastime when I was young, and I used to love having friends out visit so as to share how lucky I was by taking them up the creek. I say this as I wanted to outline that this was home to me, and that when I was in the forest, I was at home. Fast forward a few decades. There's a lookout called Black Butte Lookout overlooking Mount Warning, the Tweed Valley, and in the distance, Byron Bay, and the ocean maybe 70 kilometers away. That gives you an idea of altitude. I had a friend that hang glided, and he had an altimeter. We clocked the lookout at 993 feet above the sea level. Anyway, at this time, my stepdad and brother also lived on the farm, and as families go, we fought, so I would head up into the forest, not only to get away, but also because I felt as comfortable, if not more than, at home. I would go to the Black Butt Lookout with a portable speaker and my bass guitar, sometimes a bottle of scotch, cook a feed, and play music, or watch YouTube over 3G network, and throw a mattress over a picnic table and cark it in place, in complete bliss. I can only remember one night that I didn't feel completely at home. It was overcast and there was a lightning storm further out towards the coast. I was filming and taking screenshots when the lightning would strike, showing the landscape around midnight in amazing detail. While filming, I really had the urge to watch my back. Nevertheless, I seemed to sleep all right. This really was home to me and my happy place deep in the forest. My friends actually tripped out me, but it was everything too. Say it again. My friends actually tripped out me. Must have been tripped me out, but it was everything too. Anyway, one night I headed up about 11:30 at night, as I quite often did, so as not to wake family if I was having trouble sleeping. So, the turn off into the picnic area is a right-hand turn onto a plateau, and the main road continues downhill, creating a triangle patch forest on the left if you're heading towards the lookout. It's a narrow road for about 60 meters, and then it opens out with an undercover picnic table on the right, which I used to try to get as close as possible while parking, as it meant I could set up my swag on the table, and if need, pack up quickly if rangers come, as you're not supposed to camp the night, although they don't seem to mind as long as you're packed up early and having a cuppa to offer if they roll through. Okay, there's no punctuation for that poll, and not much coming up. So, sorry guys if I'm struggling a little bit here. Okay, so this night I've turned in, hooked to right, got as close to the table as I possible, parked where I always do, only I choose to sit in the car and watch some YouTube. When I was ready to get horizontal, I got out, walked to the back of my car, lifted the boat to grab my swag, ready to throw it on the picnic table and cark it, and I hear maybe 12 knocks, maybe 100 meters out through the triangle patch, separating the picnic area from the main road, and maybe another 70 meters in. I spun around from the boat to which my torch facing the sound, in the forest, thinking to myself, so they do knock on trees. The knocks that I heard, thinking about it now, must have been 12 to 15 in the space of 5 to 8 seconds. It scared the shit out of me. I was frozen with that primal fear you hear about, but I've been told that if you're respectful in the bush, you have nothing to worry about. I'd also heard that they pick up on your intentions, so I'd always been respectful. I stood firm, trying to put the vibe out that I belong. This is home to me. At this point, I'd like to mention that there was a few nights after a black frost, and all the leaf litter on the ground was dead and bone dry. So I was confident that if it wanted to make a beeline for me, I would hear it. So anyway, it was dead quiet. Very strange for that part of the world. I was told when I was young that it's not the noises you have to worry about, it's when everything goes quiet. It was dead quiet. I looked into the bush with my weak ass phone torch for about 4 minutes, trying to project that I'm friendly and that I belong here. It was about 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't hear anything, so I thought to myself, I must be sweet then. As at this point, I wasn't scared. Being in Dig, I was always told that they were real, and I believed that as long as you played by the rules, you had nothing to worry about. So I turned around, went to grab my sleeping bag out, and set up for the night. Mind you, I had my swag out already on the picnic table. But that moment I reached into my boot to grab my blanket, I heard from the closest tree to me, maybe 4 paces from me, the same knock. 12 to 15 knocks starting, not so low, but getting faster. I've heard others say it sounded like a baseball bat, but not till after my encounter. This sounded like a log, twice the width of a baseball bat, knocking on a hollow fig buttress root. It scared me. in the hopes of scaring it, or at least forcing some doubt into its mind if it was thinking of rushing me. I slammed my boot as I yelled, "All right, F, I'm going." For all you don't know what a boot is, that's Australian for the trunk of a car, okay? Paced quickly to the picnic table, grabbed my swag, thought about throwing it in the back seat, and come to the conclusion that it would be quicker to jump in the driver's seat and throw the swag in the passenger seat. All good. I was able to do so, though I still had to three-point turn to get out of there, at which point my driver's side had to pull right up next to that tree. That was probably one of the scarier parts. I thought about driving to another campsite and spending the night, but I was pretty shaken up. So, I don't like when fear has control over me. I believe it's there as a tool, and I pride myself on being able to use it to my advantage. I've battled with for years and years, riding freestyle BMX, motorbikes, free running, and cliff diving, as anyone can see on my YouTube channel. Left Field Larrikin, video titled Home. Sorry about the shameless plug, but it shows what the bush is like here. So anyway, 2 nights passed. I was pretty pissed off that I was kicked out of my happy place, and I was scared to go back. So I sucked it up and headed back up around 11:30 to 1:30 a.m. On the way up, I saw a young tree broken, facing downhill, which I remembered seeing the other night, only didn't think anything of it. It was on an exposed slope, where other trees have a slant because of the wind that comes through it. It was facing downhill. That scared me a bit, but I kept going. I got to the lookout, pulled in as close to the picnic table as I always do, with my headlights swung around, and as I came to a halt, there were 2 cabbage-sized rocks sitting on the handrail, either side of the front of my car. That scared the hell out of me. I nearly turned around then and there. I stayed though. I didn't have the guts to get out of the car, but I had one of the best sleeps I had in ages. I didn't go back for 2 years. Conned my brother into coming. We listened to whoops from something, pacing left to right and back again until we passed out. We get plenty of birds up there. The weird thing was the whoops had fully pronounced P's at the end. It keeps me up quite often. I tend to think it was 2, 1 maybe, watching me in the car, not expecting me to get out, and his friend drawing my attention, maybe in the hopes that I would leave there, and then, hold on, I'm just gonna text. Maybe in the hopes that I would leave there, and then it wasn't until they saw I was in for the night that the one closest gave away his position. Honestly, I like version over there being 1. I like the version over there being 1. Able to stealth right up to me while I stood there with the torch, listening intently, right after a black frost when everything is dead and dry. Thanks, Steve. Love your work. Warm regards, Joshua Henson. P.S. This shit happened, man. It still trips me out. I've had other, but nothing like that one. I've never seen it, but that was enough to scare me away from my favorite place in the world for 2 years. I was there every week beforehand. Sorry. Rant. All the best. Keep doing what you're doing. It really does help. Okay, man, I'm glad it helps. We know it helps. It helps us all. It helps me. It helps everybody. Just have the same experiences, right? And also realize there is a shitload of this going on in Australia. I think some guys got some good thermal image of one of those things, or a couple of them a little while ago. It's amazing, isn't it? North America has so many incidents, it's ridiculous. Australia has so many, another large continent, right? But we don't hear too much from Africa, I don't think, do we? It'd be interesting to hear. I mean, obviously there is going to be, without a doubt, I can guarantee it, that we don't hear too often from African countries. We'll see. Maybe somebody will now that we just mentioned that, right? Anyway, Joshua, thanks for that email, man. Stay safe out there, right? Stay safe. And send any kind of knowledge you acquire to share with the people here if you come across it, all right? Well, the goats are staying pretty quiet, being a good little audience. Maybe they can understand English and they're listening and learning. All right, titled Saw Bigfoot. I've ventured into the mountains of Montana my whole life. My first crazy experience, I was sitting against a large granite boulder taking 5 when I heard a heavy breathing creature walk behind me. I was too scared to look over the boulder, figuring if whatever it was would notice me. Oh, sorry. I was too scared to look over the boulder, figuring if whatever it was would notice me. I've been growled at a couple times, deep growls, that turned me around after scanning the brush, realizing it could see me, though I couldn't see whatever it was. Then, me and my dad heard a howling sound back in the Montana mountains when we were camping. My dad, an experienced hunter, said it was too deep sounding to be a mountain lion. Another time, me and my brother heard a screaming creature across a lake we were camping on. We had never heard such a sound in the Montana mountains before. Anyway, my sighting was from my car driving through Montana's Bitterroot Valley to join my family camping at Como Lake. It was in the evening, cruising down the highway. I noticed a light-colored animal on all fours off to the side of me, coming down a scattered ponderosa pine ridge. At first I thought I was seeing a bear, way too swift to be a bear. Its hair was long and flowing, unlike a bear. It was heading for a bank of willows along the highway, so I knew it would cross the highway as fast as it was moving. When it crossed the highway, it was upright on 2 legs, swinging long arms. I noticed it was very muscular, with long, light-colored hair flowing off its back. And then went down into a creek area on the other side of the highway. I thought about stopping to see if I could see tracks, but something told me, no, I don't want to end up missing. Anyway, I really enjoyed your channel. I also have the coolest backdrops. Also, you have the coolest backdrops when you read your emails. Take care, Steve. Craig Mackey. Craig, thanks for that, man. It'd be interesting to know if you've heard of many other similar sightings around where you were in that area. I'm sure there's guaranteed there's somebody from that area listening to your experience right now, for sure. It's endless. It's frickin' endless. Just lovely we've been lied to for so long, misled, uninformed. To think that there's some prick human being in the world somewhere today that thinks they are in the position to dictate what we can handle or not, or dictate what we're allowed to know or not. I would love to rid the planet of those people forever. Myself, obviously pisses me off to no end. And this is my way of fighting back for now, until I can figure out how to really fight back real fiercely. Anyway, before I get going on that, obviously there's been a few conversations today pertaining to what's going on the planet today, and I am so angry and so frustrated. I'll tell you what, the good guy army bands together and goes for it. I am so in. Anyway, sorry about that. What do we got? The reality's unfolding. There is only one road. Right across from my house are the residential power lines. The lowest line is now drooping down like something stretched it. I walked that. The line is completely covered in light green lichen or such, with the exception of 2 areas which are shiny and black. I investigated further and found a tall, flat mass, moss-covered stump with feathers from 2 of my birds and some hairs. One is long, straight of course, not human, orangish, maybe off a bobcat or a cougar. That explains the cat screams and the smells, hopefully, but not the power line. Well, cougars and those other cats, they don't have long hairs, ever. After I built my first pigeon loft, I had a number of peculiar experiences. I'm going to the loft in the morning and a bird would be missing and there would be something left in the food bowl. The first time it was a little brass bell, and the second time it was a small jawbone. One side. Both times, birds are missing. So I thought that could have been a hawk, and I just didn't see that occur. I fully fenced my loft area after that and did a full aerial netting as well. Recently I drove away with my lighter on top of my Jeep. As I rounded the S-bend, a block away, I heard it tumble down the roof of my Jeep and bounce onto the road. A day or 2 later, I found it on my bumper, all dirty from the gravel road. I asked the only walking neighbor who passes by here by some stroke of luck, he found my lighter and put it on my Jeep. I mean, who does that, right? There's a lot of nice people here, but still, there are even more black lighters. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Sometimes I think all my UV lights and my moving lights are just sort of an interesting light show for the creature of the forest. I'm lit. I got a few more trail cams to put along some curious pathways and that kill site down the bluff. I'm not sure what's going on. Why not? I think mass territory shifting due to the forest fires and earthquakes, which have been at an all-time high here in North America. The USGS does a monthly summary if you don't like watching DEW. On YouTube, he shows all weather, space, meteorological events, solar, and etc. Daily events worldwide. Cheers. Lush right now. Blessing to farm and family. P.S. I'm considering playing cougar calls to the forest to deter that cat that's got a nice territory established at this river drainage where I live. It's already hunting my little farm. Probably can't hurt, right? Now what do I got? I got another one here. What's this one? Attached to it? Who's that? Alright, here's another email at the bottom. I went up the mountain today and sang some songs. The tree has been pushed over on the caretaker access road last night. I had a feeling. We talked freely about the situation. A tree fell across the main access trail to the river valley last week, and after last night, instead of removing the tree blocking the trail, not the road, I went and fortified the blockade that was put there to limit access to the river valley for visitors. I hope that makes them happy because these very large trees falling across strategic points is getting a bit unnerving. 3 in a week and a half. Just using you as a witness, as well as the witnesses there physically with me, but this is a new for Sam, although he understands. The story is still unfolding. I believe that in the next 4 weeks I will have an interesting chapter to add and hopefully no further additions until next spring. I'm going to head back up before the night falls and put some trail cams up. Maybe that'll just quiet the place down for a bit, so our caretaker for the next few weeks doesn't run away screaming. He said he was pretty creeped out last night and he pulled his van up to the outdoor kitchen and cooked his meal with the van running and the lights on and the stereo. Off-grid kitchen. Cooking steak may have facilitated some of this enthusiastic behavior. Fun. Wow. Well, it sounds like there's a whole bunch of shit going on around that neighborhood, doesn't it? As soon as you said about the trees falling and fortifying barriers where you go, that made me remember something I keep forgetting to mention. And it's to people who, if you're going to go up an old deactivated logging road or old logging roads and you're fairly remote, like this, I thought of this back when I went to Nemint Lake and there's nobody there. And then I drove down the length of the road, the length of the lake. I think I made it 3/4 down the length of the lake. And there was, I noticed there was like very next to no vehicle tracks on that road at all. I got down that long straightaway, and there was a huge old fir tree right across the road, and that thing was probably about 5 feet thick. That's one hell of a log, and it's steep, and that log is pushed over. And then I didn't feel panicked at all, but what I was thinking instantly was, oh shit, imagine if another one got pushed over behind me, right? Or fell over, whatever. That would be real shitty, whether you're in a truck or a quad, right? And these things have been happening. A lot of people have reported in the fact that trees were pushed down over the trail after they had gone by. We had happened to us the fall before last. There was a tree, not a big one, but a spruce tree, probably about a 40-footer, was bent, broken in half, and the top half was thrown about 25 meters. And the other pieces across the trail that we went in on, right? Anyways, what I'm getting at is, it would be a very good idea, like a lot of people pack safety items in the vehicle just normally, especially rural, especially northern Canadians, or anybody living cold areas. You usually pack warm blankets, etc., so that you can survive a night in minus temperatures if something were to happen. It's just standard procedure, right? What I'm getting at, sorry for the long babble, is I have a large tree falling size chainsaw, and I, as a rule, take that chainsaw with me when I go in the woods. I just do, and I bring enough fuel and files so that the 1 in a million happens and 2 big trees fall across the road on either end of me, I'm not going to be stuck 50, 60, 70 miles away from getting out, right? So I thought I'd drop that in there for you guys. Bring a chainsaw. You're going to go up in the woods, bring a chainsaw. You're going to go on logging roads, get a quad, bring a small size chainsaw, because if there's a big tree falls across that trail, you're screwed. You're walking. And one mathematical equation, I think it was when I took a trapping course, they taught us that, I believe they said, for every 20 minutes on a snowmobile down a snowmobile trail in the snow, every 20 minutes distance on a snowmobile equated 8 hours of you walking on your feet. So that's one to think about, right? Like, I think I've got 600 miles on this brand new quad that I bought a few months ago. And apparently too, I had that quad, something happened to it on the way home, and it wasn't working anymore. It really made me nervous because I was in the middle of frickin' nowhere on those cut lines in the north. And I was doing 45 to 50 minute one direction quad rides in the dark by myself. And I'd hate to think how long that, and I was in about a foot of snow, sometimes a little more. And it makes me think, I wonder how long that would have took for me to walk out, right? But I always had a small chainsaw with me. So I thought I'd drop that one for all of you. Bring a chainsaw. If you don't have one, buy one. Go to a used store, a thrift store, whatever. Get a shitty old second-hand one. You don't have to buy a brand new one. Just get one, or else get one of those saws. A good, those big steel-handled big saw blades, and the blade's about that thick with the big teeth that really rips through wood. Or get one of those. An axe, right? But just make sure that you have with you something to cut through a tree that is felled behind you on the trail. I believe that is very, very important. All right? I'm out of here. On with my day. My wet, soggy day. Be safe out there. You poor thing. Your life is horrible. Stranded. Don't chew on that, you little dork. All right. They just want to come and hang out. That's all they want to do. Goofy buggers.